Hello and welcome back to What I Think I Know with your host, Dan Brigantino. We are going to have a slightly shorter episode today because I've been drugged. How fun is that? Um, Not really. I've got this gnarly rash. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera, but I've got this gnarly rash on my hands. It started as poison oak about a year ago. If you don't know, poison oak lasts about 2 weeks, or is supposed to last about 2 weeks. It comes in as kind of like blisters almost, and then they kind of pop and it dries up and it goes away. This, however, keeps cycling. It goes through the blister, pop, dry up, go away, blister, pop, dry up, go away. It keeps doing that. It's almost been a year. It'll be a year in November. So I've just been trying a lot of different stuff to get rid of it. And last night I tried a super strong um, allergy medication, and I will not be doing that again. I am incredibly slow right now. I feel like I have like a lead suit on. It's not very fun. So I'm going to keep the episode short. We've only got 3 things to talk about today. Some really important things, though, I would say. Really very important things. Um, Starting with, and this will piss most everybody off, a I don't know a good word. A forced loss of life in Texas. A fella got a gal pregnant, and the gal wanted to keep it, I guess. I don't know what she wanted, actually. I have no idea. The fella, though, I know didn't want to keep it. So he went to the store, got I would assume it's either a Plan B, or there's an actual pill for later stages of pregnancy that will uh, uh, remove your baby child from the earth. Um, and so this man went and acquired the pill, snuck it into, maybe he put it in her sandwich or whatever. He snuck her this pill without her knowing. She then, miscarried. She lost the child, and he is being charged with murder. I believe first-degree murder. So that's pretty cool. Kind of conversation ended, I suppose. Uh, yeah, I mean, we've always had two groups, the very much selfish, it's my life, I get to do whatever I want to do with no repercussions. And then there are, uh, guys, we've known for however long humans have existed that those are our babies. Um, so let's not off them anymore. Um, anyway, there's something I always think about is people who look into history a little bit will see things and be like, oh my God, I can't believe people were doing that. Human sacrifice is a great example. I can't believe there was ever a human who believed that if I offed this other human, then it will cause the gods to rain on the crops and we'll eat. Um, the morality of that is ridiculous. As we all know, the morality is crazy. And we look back from now and go, oh my God, I can't believe humans did that. I can't believe we were that stupid. Well, switching genders and this one are the biggest 2 things I think in 50, 100 years we're going to look back at and go, oh my God, that's disgusting. I can't believe we allowed that to happen. Um, but hopefully, with this sort of a case, we're going to be putting that to death pretty soon. I can only dream. It probably won't happen. But it is very interesting precedent to be set that if a man offs his own baby while it's in his lady, he can be charged for murder. but she won't be if she does it herself. I could understand the murder if it was, oh gosh, I've said it so many times now. Dang it. Whatever, I guess I'm editing a lot. I'm going to sleep right after I finish editing. That's how screwed up I am right now from that stupid allergy medicine. Um, but now my editing's longer. Whatever. Not that big a deal. Anyway, that's my piece on that. Um, I've got a lot more to say, but I'm going way too slow today. So we'll save things for another day. I'm sure that will come up again. Another thing, and shoot, I've forgotten what state it was in, but there was a mass event at a church, and this happened almost a full week ago. It might have even happened before last episode was aired, but I had to record that one early. Anyway, the mass event happened. It was a gender swapping person, and they had all sorts of rhetoric written across the rifle magazines and the rifle itself and stuff, saying, you know, F Trump, where's your God now? Remembering these are Christian children that are being offed. And the media struck back with, well, thoughts and prayers, so much for that. They didn't help those kids who were in the middle of prayer, and which is just disgusting. And obviously, that's not how prayer works. God has His will, and His will be done. Your prayers are a nice, hey, please, could you? But God's got His plan, and His plan's going to go where it's supposed to go. It's really unfortunate when a youth loses his life, or any person loses his life. I had one of my best friends in elementary school. I think we were in third grade, maybe fourth grade, and he was in one of those rails you grab onto, and it slides you across in a playground. A local family, had tied a rope to that bar so their smaller children could reach up and grab the rope. And my buddy, who was bigger than the little children, he grabbed onto the thing. He slipped and was caught by that rope, and he lost his life. It was a huge part of my childhood because he was one of my closest friends, and I pray constantly for him. Even now, I still pray for him, and I'm explaining that to show you that like prayer only works in so many ways. I'm not saying don't waste your time praying for something. But last night I bought a Powerball ticket and I was praying for the Powerball win. You know, if that was, if God answered every prayer, everybody would have won the Powerball by now. So it's a tough situation with praying for your life or whatever. I don't know how to explain that. I'm probably gonna edit that last second out. So anyway, the point I want to make is, disregarding all of that disgusting rhetoric from the liberal news media, there was a study done over the last 52 years of school shootings. 100% of mass events in schools, the perpetrator has been using antidepressants or barbiturates for anxiety. All of these drugs, 100% of these drugs, the antidepressants and barbiturates for anxiety, all of them have published studies showing that they lead to an increased risk of suicide. And I'm quoting from, I forgot to write my note down. I'm quoting from one of them, that all of them lead to violent and potentially homicidal actions. I think we've found the solution or called off or whatever I think we've figured out two incredible scenarios at once. We figured out the answer to abortion. I don't know if I could say that word, so we've found the answer to can you um, off your own child while it's still in the womb, and how can we stop mass events in schools? We found the answer to both of them in like, I don't know, 4 minutes. How long have we been doing this? Recording says 10 minutes, but some of it's edited out, whatever. Like, yeah, oh my gosh. So the answer to offing your own child while it's in the womb is that's murder. We see that now with this lawsuit in Texas. And we see that 100% of mass events in schools in the last 52 years, 52 years is almost, well, I can't say almost twice my age now. Um, anyway, it's a long time. It's a long time. Uh, all of them have been on antidepressants and barbiturates for anxiety. So, simple solution: stop. Easy. Wow, that's incredible. Two of the world's most prevalent problems we just solved. Easy peasy. No problem. Uh, that was quick. Man, vote for me for president, I guess. Something like that. No, our president's doing a lot better than I could ever do. I can guarantee that. The last thing I want to talk about before we call this episode quits and I go back to sleep is cats. I've always been fascinated by cats. I love how they're basically miniature jaguars or mountain lions, whatever. I love watching them, sneak through the woods and all that. They're very cool animals. I would go as far to say as if it were up to reincarnation, I would probably want to be reincarnated as a house cat. I just think it's super cool. They get to have free roam and all that, and they look like they live a dream of a life. Now, what comes with that is the owners. We own house cats as people, and kind of where the ownership of pets comes from is from dogs, things we've domesticated to use for a reason. Cows. If you're farming cows, technically those are your pet cows. Sheep, same thing, whatever you farm. We've domesticated all these animals to be our friend, essentially. But cats, we have not. In Africa, there is essentially a wild house cat. It's thousands of years old. It is not something we created. It is just a tiny cat that looks exactly like a house cat that roams around parts of Africa or the Middle East or something like that, somewhere in the kind of Egypt area. I'm assuming it's in that branch. Let me. All right, I was right. I just looked it up. Africa, Middle East, Southwestern Asia. So my assumption, this is just an assumption, but my assumption is essentially we took that cat or similar cats to it and domesticated them. Simple as that. We all know the Egyptians loved the cats. They revered them as the gods. And I would assume it just built from there. They were the first ones to domesticate it, and the cats they domesticated, their generations have spread on. The problem with cats is, like when you look at a dog owner, what is, if you're not a dog owner, kind of the biggest thing that you ever worry about dog owners is, well, I guess there's two. Does your dog bite? And do you pick up your dog's poop? That's really, sorry, I can't flip you off. That's the biggest one. Can you pick up your dog's poop? At least in my life, there's no way I could ever imagine being overpowered by a dog of any kind, aside from perhaps a wolf. Fun story. One time, I was meeting one of my buddy's friends at his house, and this guy, we walk up to his door and knock, hey, how's it going? He opens the door and shoves a broomstick into my chest. So I grab the broomstick, like, what the hell is that for? And I hear just a stampede of dog claws, whatever you call them, dog nails on the hardwood floor. I'm like, holy, how many dogs is that? There's another one I got to bleep. Holy cow, how many dogs is that? And they come bursting around the corner. It was 3 wolves that on all fours, their heads were like up at my chin kind of thing. Unbelievable dogs, super nice, domesticated, still very much unruly, kind of like a husky would be. They don't really listen when they don't want to. But incredibly nice, would never harm a fly kind of thing, unless perhaps their owner was harmed first. Pack animals, that's how they work. Just really cool. The broom, by the way, the broom was to push against the dogs to keep them off me. Just because they're all loving, they try to lick me and all that. But one of the coolest experiences ever. But that was the kind of the beginning of dogs. Dogs were a tool. They helped us hunt. They helped us protect our families. They were an early alarm system, so if the guard fell asleep during the night, the dogs would still be able to wake up and protect the pack, or the pack of humans at this point. There were uses for dogs: chickens, sheep, cows, like we mentioned already. All sorts of different animals, even, the weird ones like llamas and camels that you wouldn't think of if you're in America. You wouldn't immediately think, oh, maybe camels have some use. Oh, they got incredible uses. So all sorts of animals have a use, but cats have pretty much always been owned for more the same reason as fish. I own fish. I've got 2 fish tanks off to my side here. I have a crawfish, and then I've got some 40 or 50, at this point, maybe way more than that, guppies. I breed them for fun. I got one little like leopard print guppy because I bought a pregnant female one time, and he was born, and so I've been breeding his genes, trying to make a leopard print, colorful, beautiful guppy. Haven't succeeded on getting the color in there quite yet, but they are like rainbow as they move. The sunlight reflects differently, so it's pretty cool. Anywho, what they're there for is for me to look at and go, ooh, pretty. The same reason with cats. Cats are there for you to look at them and go, ooh, interesting. Look how he does the psychology. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, you might flick a little toy for them every once in a while. And every here and there they might come snuggle with you when they want more food. But really, they're not pets. They're not companions. They're not tools. They're not food. They're nothing. They are really nothing. So what they end up being is just kind of territorial monsters. I think we've talked about this before. They're ruining Hawaii, or some Hawaiian islands. I know at least Maui. Some like 60-80% of their native bird species have gone extinct. Birds that only live in Hawaii and nowhere else on the planet, they've just gone extinct because house cats got out, and now they're feral cats running around and just laying waste to the system there. I think places like New York City might be a good place for cats. They'll keep the rats down, but I digress there. Anyway, my biggest issue is in a neighborhood like I live in a wonderful neighborhood. I've got great neighbors. Don't get me wrong. If my neighbors do ever see this video, or if they hear me through the garage door talking, I really do think you guys are great people. You just aren't paying attention and not really thinking about this. Cats don't have borders. So if I got a dog, and my dog, I let my dog out into the front yard, say, and he goes over to the neighbor's house and poops on their lawn, it's my responsibility to now go over to the neighbor's house and pick up that poop. I don't think anybody could ever argue against that. Your dog has trespassed onto their private property and left a not so pleasant surprise. Therefore, you need to go pick it up and take care of it. The homeowner, whether they have dogs or not, doesn't matter. But like from my perspective, I'd love to have a dog. I don't have time to care for a dog. I don't have, um, well, frankly, most days like today, especially the energy to care for a dog. Of course, a dog is uh, just something extra to deal with, and I don't have that time, so I don't have a dog. Um, Simple reason: someday I'll have a dog, absolutely, and I'll train it not to go onto the neighbor's lawn and poop there. And if it does poop there, I'll go pick it up. But cats, you can't train. They pretty much have free roam unless they're a house cat. If you lock them inside, which I personally think is relatively cruel. Cats are very adventurous animals. They don't want to be kept in a box all their life. Just like dogs, I would think if you had a house dog, that would be extremely cruel as well. Um, so cats you can't train. They end up with a territory. They just choose a part of the neighborhood and they say, "This is my part of the neighborhood." Then the neighbor cat comes by, they fight. Then the territory shrinks a little bit, or he kicks that neighbor cat out, and now he gets that territory. So maybe you've lived on this street for 40 years. Your cat is, well, it doesn't matter how long you've lived there, but your cat's lived there for 16 years, and a new cat comes to town, and now your cat becomes an inside cat because if it goes outside, it gets eaten alive by the neighbor's cat. There's also, of course, the poop. They hide in my bushes. They poop all over my driveway. Just the other day, I walked outside to put something in the back of my fiance's car. I can remotely open the tailgate thing, the hatchback. So I hit the button as I come out my front door, take the 20 steps to the back of the car, and I kind of stepped close to the car because whatever it was I was carrying was heavy or something like that. And as I hefted it in, my toes land on something soft and round. I look under the car, it's cat poop. Uh, a dog pooping underneath a car, especially it's not a tall car. It's just a stock SUV. It's a what 12 inches at best, probably 10 inches off the ground. A dog would no kind of, not even a Chihuahua, would run under that car and think that's a great place to poop. But cats, for some reason, they love it. So there's always poop under the car. I clearly have stepped in it before. I do not appreciate that. The owner actually, we've been talking about it in the front yard loudly. Kind of petty, kind of rude, I know, but it, it, it's it is what it is. Anyway, I kind of think he heard because he did hose his cat's poop off the driveway. But that was only after my fiance started parking in the street every day. Um, so that I could kind of so that he could see all the poop. We have talked to them before. They said it was the other cat down the street. It is what it is. Whatever. The whole point of this is if you're a cat owner, you own a cat because you are interested in their psychology, but are also lazy, too lazy to take care of an animal. Cats take care of themselves. You don't have to wash a cat. You barely have to feed a cat. At best, you have the litter box. I think break here. I've so lost it. Oh. So, as a cat owner, you can really only be one of two things. If you're lucky, both. You can be one, intrigued by the psychology and the nature of a cat, i.e., like I said at the very beginning, something I like is watching the cat, watching the cat hunt kind of thing. It's very fun to watch an animal hunt. And the other one is the other thing that a cat owner can be is extremely lazy. Uh, Cats only come around when they feel that, or when they feel that they need something from you or can get something from you. Otherwise, they just do their own thing, and most of the time they're going, "Get away from me! I don't want you around anyway." It's an extremely weird thing. I have seen a lot of older cats that are a little bit nuzzlier and cuddlier, but that is clearly just because they realize they're getting close to death. I'd never said cats were dumb. That's for darn sure. They're incredibly smart animals. Just their owners are foolish. And it probably is just a lot to do with, I don't know what you guys know about it, but there's like a virus or something that lives in cats that gets excreted by their urine, and then humans can like acquire that virus, and you end up like falling in love with cats, and you cannot like logically explain it. It is simply because of this virus. Very, very disgusting sort of thing. And I think a lot of people around the world are afflicted by it. So anyway, this, I guess, is a call to action for all cat owners. You are hereby officially responsible for every neighborhood cat, not just the cats that are yours. You probably have multiple, I do know that. Cat people always like to collect them for some reason. But you are now responsible for every cat on the block. I don't want to hear, "Oh, that was the neighbor's cat." Doesn't matter. Your cat goes to the neighbor's house. The neighbor's cat goes to your house. Therefore, it could be any cat. Therefore, it is your problem. Any cat poop you see, kind of anywhere in your life, honestly. If you're a cat owner, you should be required to deal with that. If I was president, I'd probably try to make some sort of law regarding that. If you're a cat owner, you are now required to pick up cat poop anywhere you see it. It's a wild world out there. It's about all I got for you. I'm very sorry that cat rant kind of went all over the place, and I never really got to the end point. I do apologize. We've got some clarity coming soon, I promise for that. No more strong Benadryl for me. If you haven't ever seen Master of Disguise, I encourage you to go enjoy it. Wonderful movie. I did have an idea of the video I was going to put at the end of this, but I might actually just have to change it up and put something from Master of Disguise in there. But anyway, you'll see. No more caramel corn for me, and have a beautiful day. God bless you all. We'll see you next week. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.
What would you like for breakfast, Johnny? Muffins! That's right. At Cunningham Muffins, we know that muffins make the best breakfast. So why not try all of our exciting new flavors? Raspberry, cranberry, apples, cinnamon, pecan, pumpkin, nut, date nut, lemon poppy seed muffin, banana, orange, peach, strawberry, blueberry, boysenberry, almond, choco chip, carrot, gooseberry, pumpernickel, fish, paperclip, ink, bird, shampoo, Star Wars muffin, bullfrog, crickets, cigarette, Israeli-Palestinian conflict muffins, bits of glass muffin. Ow! Asbestos. I'm baking muffins as best as I can. Ah! Monkey. Al Jarreau muffin. Elephant. Pencil. Newspaper. Fire! Imaginary muffin. Cartoon muffin. Blood. What muffin would you like for breakfast, Johnny? I lost my appetite. You'll eat a muffin. You'll eat it and like it! So try all of our delicious Cunningham muffins at Cunningham Muffins!